Hi. Everything should be up. How we doing?
How are you doing?
I should probably tell TikTok that I'm doing volume 6 right now. No audio, so I don't get claimed on anything that pops up. Volume 6 on stream. Go to red app in bio. How we doing?
We good?
You see Kirbs, and it seems like y'all have been in here for a while. Like a fair fucking bit. Failure's already at 275 EXP. God damn. Hello, Admiral. Hello, Sake. Hey, Sake's actually here. Hello, Failure. Hello, Kirbs. Anybody else join in chat before? I'm sure my random did. I'm fine. I came back from doing an arm and shoulder day, and let me tell you, they hurt. Finally got 8 reps with 18 kg for lateral raises. Ugh, fuck, it's awful. Like proper form as well. Shit sucks. But I can curl 30 for 8 reps now, and I feel fucking strong for it. Thalia told me to write a fanfic about Cass's journey to get murked. Fair. For lat raises, bloody hell crazy. Here's the thing, I've been stagnant for like 16 kg for... since February? Something like that. I've been like really lacking on my shoulders. I fish. I've been like really lacking on my shoulders. I can only like shoulder press has been stuck at 100 kg for a fucking while now, like almost a year. But I keep fluctuating in weight. I keep getting sick, so that one's like inevitable. Same with like my deadlift, squats, and bench and all that. Like they've all been pretty stagnant, but that's like inevitable. But we finally get to 8 reps for fucking 18. I'm like, yes. Yes. And then some fucking dickhead on steroids was doing with 24s, and I was mad. Is 7.5 kg. Yeah, for lat raises, it's one of those things where it's like you're gonna it feels like you're gonna be stagnant for a while, but it's just one of those things where you just gotta pick up the heavier weights. It's this anything you perceive to be weak, you're probably not as weak as you think you are. It's one of those things where it's like you can't pussy it. Pretty much. For bench, squat, and deadlift, and where it's like heavy compound weights, weightlifting, that's like almost entirely form. Almost 100% of it's form. So you can jump up a fair bit and then feel that push. But for like your shoulders, your joints, like your forearms and shit, your calves, even your knees, it all feels like super duper mega stagnant. But it's like, no, it's not stagnant. It's just the weight isn't as big of an increase as you may believe it to be. I always did my lat raises on cable. I used to. I used to quite a bit. I prefer to do it, if I'm doing cable, it's probably because I'm, like, very much focusing on my shoulders. And I'm probably doing, like, very lighter exercises. What would you say my favorite exercise is? Incline bench. Incline bench is easily my favorite. I basically don't do bench anymore because of it. Like flat bench, I don't do. Dumbbell benches, I don't do anymore. I do dumbbell benches more than I do like regular bench nowadays. But like free bar incline every fucking day. Every fucking day. You just get everything. Your front delts, your upper chest, all of your chest, pretty much. Like I can't even wrap my whole hand around my titties. It's just the best chest exercise next to probably, other than elevated weighted push-ups, it's probably the best chest exercise. I'm not doing squats with a bar though, but the V squat machine instead. I don't like free bar squatting. My legs are easily my weakest. Like muscle per pound, it's definitely my weakest. My strongest easily my arms. My strongest is easily my arms though. Like my arms aren't big like at all. They're only like 17 inches. But being able to get 30 kilograms for curling is like shocking. When you get predetermined motion, you can really focus on weight. Yeah, 100%. And I feel like that's probably best for like deadlifts, because deadlifts, that's like a whole ass body exercise. And if like one minute fuck up on that, it's all of a sudden a lower back exercise or it's a quad exercise. I used to do those when I played basketball. I used to play a lot of basketball when I was younger. But then COVID hit, and then I was like, you know what? Maybe never mind. But like, what's my max on because I don't do free bar squat anymore. I've got there's a pendulum squat, and there's Smith machine. No. The fuck's that squat called? Why am I blanking on that kind of squat? Why am I forgetting the fucking name of it? Hack squat, there we go. I prefer to use the hack squat. Because, God, you can really focus in on your quads. Hello, Rose. But my max on that right now is 40 base. 25. 150 kg on that. I used to play tennis 10 years ago. Fair. Yeah, that explains why you like legs so much then. I love her. But I used to play, always near back rim for basketball, so like I really didn't have to train my legs all that hard. It was mostly just like reflexes, and obviously having a longer reach, being able to chuck that 150 hack squat's insane. Not really. In comparison to like everything else, it's not, again, it's like a pound for pound kind of thing, where it's like not that crazy. Because that's only free 25 bars. Oh, I don't know what my 1 rep max is. I don't do 1 rep max. The only time I do a 1 rep max is for deadlift. And that's currently 200 kg. But I prefer to make sure if I can rep it for 8, like good form, if I can like rep it for 8 on a okay form, it doesn't even have to be a great or even good form, just an okay form, then I'll increase it by like 2.5 kilograms. I have legitimately no idea what my hack squat like 1 rep would be. Probably not even that high. It'd probably be like 175. No. That seems illogical. Not even, because I fucking try on hack squat. Like, trying to get those 8 reps fucking annihilates me every time. I think pound for pound, leg press is probably my heaviest. What's the heaviest I've gone on leg press? Like almost 300 kilograms. Something like that. 625 bars each side. That's probably my best pound for pound, like, weight. Yeah. That's fair. V-squats are very fucking good, though. V-squats are very good. I don't find them that comfortable because I'm double jointed, so my knees pop outwards. So my knees aren't straight, they pop out like that. So doing a V-squat's never really been the best for me. Hack squat and leg press have always been way more comfortable. My pull-up record has gone up, though. 20 kg. Throw that shit on a fucking label. Finally get 10 reps of that now. Oh, I did that, and let me tell you, my back fucking hurts so much. Like, T-bar row. Actually, I think my back might be the strongest pound for pound. Because I can lift heavy with my back. Because T-bar row I can get 425s, and I can rep that for 2 sets. But I don't know if I can go heavier than that. Not for 8 reps. If I tried to 1 rep max that, I'd probably get... well, first of all, it's T-bar. I don't know why you try and 1 rep it, but I could probably get 5 plates, maybe? Pull-ups are goated. Pull-ups are so fucking good. Pull-ups are so fucking good. I enjoy chin-ups too, but I mostly do that on arm days. Like really focus in and just fucking stretch your lats like crazy doing that. But I always end up focusing on my biceps because, again, they're fairly strong in comparison to, like, the size. Yeah, no, that's fair. What's my flat? I remember I hit, like, 100 kg on flat 2 years ago now? I was in my old gym. Yeah, 100 kg on flat, and then I swapped over to, incline. Because, what was it? It was like 5 studies came out the same day, focusing on, like, how much upper delt you actually work on. And then it found out that, like, flat chest, like, incline doesn't work all of that. It works the entire load. Even your, like, lower pecs have to exert force upwards for it. So I never went back after that. But I could probably get 120 on flat now. Maybe. Am I late? Nah, we're just having gym talk. You know, I'm actually very interested in what would happen if you gave photons mass, so I looked into it. Turns out you don't break physics all that much. They only just slow down. Huh. I mean, that makes sense. I feel like the question would be, like, how much mass are you applying to the photon in any given moment to see what the action would be. Hello there, and you're not late, don't worry. But yeah, no, I did a 30 minute on the bike today. Read another 2 chapters of the beginning after the end. Realized shit is a little bit out of order, but not complaining all that much. I forget TB chapters are long in the novel. Like, astronomically longer than I remember them being. My friend is writing a Shadow Slave fanfic. He created an OC with the true name Root of All Evil and a demonic aspect. Hi, Random. For what he told me, she can be a really fucking good character, and I'm just waiting for him to make it. Fair. I've been reading Reverend Sandy. It's buns. Yes. I've not picked it up after chapter 25, so I don't. There'll be a time in the day where I pick it back up again, but I'll probably just not gonna. Can't say, I just wanted to say, LARP long and prosper. Fair enough. Speaking of prosper, let's find out what the crew is doing, baby. 1061. Ah! Very little. They're still moving. They're still moving real fast. If you give them too much, they're just not going as fast. They're just starting a nuclear event. Ah, that makes sense. I'm at like chapter 700, and so it's like I'm dipping my toes into the pool as well. You're 700 chapters in, and if it's bun 700 chapters in, I'm surprised you haven't fucking dropped it. If your mom was any longer than 1,000 chapters, like 250 should be your bare minimum for like catching. Not even like 100 chapters in, you should be able to intrigue your like collective people. Anyway, let's get into this. Oh, we're here, volume 6. I'm too deep. No, you're not. It's like 2,000 chapters. 1 minute. How long is Reverend Sandy? I know it's not that long. Well, it's long, but it's not like. If you're 700 chapters in, you can drop it. Oh my god, just show me. It's 2,300 chapters, just drop it. Who cares? Just drop it. Hype moments, but the story is rough. Anyway, fuck Reverend, fuck that piece of shit, that bum ass story. Let's get into something worth giving a fuck about. Sonny, come here. I'll only kill you a little. Get the hell away from me, you demented zombie. Sonny took a few steps back, easily avoiding the grasp of the shambling corpse of Master Jet. Unfortunately, she was not too fast. In fact, she could barely crawl. Her nails powerlessly scratched against the alloy, and Soul Reaper let out a hoarse, disappointed hiss. Damn it. Sonny shook his head. Despite Jet's weakened state, avoiding her clutches was a tiresome task. Mostly because there was nowhere for him to really run. Currently, the two of them were trapped on an alloy raft that was drifting slowly across the strait between the Antarctic center and the vast landmass to the east. When Jet lost control of herself, all Sonny could do was endlessly circle the raft and wait for her to come to her senses. Come here, Sonny, I won't bite! He gave her a dark look, then picked up his chair, walked over to the other end of the improvised vessel, and calmly sat down. The length of the raft was no more than 10 meters, but for Soul Reaper, that was a vast distance right now. She stared at him for a while, then gave up and rolled on her back with a curse, looking at the sky with a resigned expression. While Jet remained still, she really looked like a corpse. And technically she was, but at least in this code, she was not a rotting corpse. One had to count their blessings. Unlike the souls of already awakened, hers was not able to generate essence on its own. Worse than that, her soul core was shattered and constantly leaked. What little essence she had left, once the essence completely ran out, Soul Reaper would truly and forever perish. The only way for her to survive was to continuously kill living beings and absorb their soul essence. That was actually Jet's sleeper ability. Her awaken ability allowed her to bypass all forms of physical defense and strike directly at the soul of her enemies, which was where her fearsome nickname Soul Reaper had come from. Her ascended ability was to slowly absorb shards of broken soul cores from those she had killed to build up and strengthen her own. In terms of size and capacity, it also removed the natural limit of essence infusion that the flesh of most living beings had, allowing Jet to oversaturate her body with essence and achieve truly superb levels of strength, speed, and resilience. Her supreme aspect. I completely forgot everybody else has technically different ranked aspects. Like, we always call the Divine Aspect Trio the Divine Aspect Trio because that's their rank, right? Like, their aspect is divine, hence why they can get soul calls. I completely forgot about the fact that everybody else can get, like, an Awakened level core, a Supreme core, a Sacred core, a Saint level core, or Transcendent core even. Completely just like that. Ooh, what's everyone else's then? Effie's has to be like a master and above. Hers is broken. I don't know about Kai, though. Kai's might be an Ascended. Is not really that strong. What about Cassie? She's an Oracle. And hers, if you use it correctly, can be quite busted. I like that. That's cool. Sadly, right now, Jet had no essence to spare in strengthening her body. She barely had enough to keep her from collapsing entirely, and the last reserves were slowly running out. Things had not gone well for them after the destruction of Falcon Scott. Even after the Winter Beast retreated into the depths of Antarctic Center, its dire influence remained. Neither Sunny nor Jet was able to access the Dream Realm anchors, which meant that they had not escaped into the waking world. Eventually, the two of them had been left with only one choice: to try and brave the Strait. Actually, there was no need for them to even try to even reach East Antarctica. All they had to do was sail far enough into the ocean to leave the area of influence of the corrupted Titan, which would allow them both to return to the Dream Realm. That would still be dangerous, but not as dangerous as remaining in the Winter Beast's frozen realm. There was no ships coming, and no seaworthy vessels left intact in Falcon Scott. In the end, Sunny had been forced to improvise. An ally raft. The alloy raft they were currently drifting on was not just a random sheet of light alloy, it was actually the Covetous Coffer. The amount of the MVP levels of, like, bullshittery this chest has been able to do for Sunny is fucking hilarious. Ever since Sunny killed the Mimic, this chest has been nothing less than, like, excellent tier shit for him. Quickly, Sunny, become a boat for Jet. Cassie must be secret. Her aspect is really powerful as a seer. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking it's probably the second strongest. Like, the second highest level, if I had to take a guess. Plus, how important she is as an Oracle, too. Bro, I got no note. Oh, I completely forgot to add everybody in the Discord. My bad. My bad. The memory of his possession was an enchanted called Medallius Mandicious Coffer, which allowed the Mimic to form an inanimate object. Additionally, the size and intricacy of the Sileucrum were dependent on Sunny's Shadow Core capacity. But now he was very close to becoming an Ascended Tyrant. So, absolutely, the capacity was much greater than he had first acquired the coffer. Regarding Jet's rank from the last stream, even before the chapter, Sunny noted at the rate at which the essence flowed from her body was abnormal during the Jade Beetle fight. Yeah, I think I mentioned during the Jade Beetle fight that it was like, does Jet not have like a functioning soul core? Hi, Liba. Or Liba. So Sunny had turned it into a raft. It was much larger than the alloy chest the coffer usually looked like at the expanse of complexity. Even better, the locomotive Chinifer enhanced the raft to propel itself forward at a modest speed. Most importantly, though, the Covetous Coffer was an ascended memory of the fourth tier, and as such, it was tremendously more durable than even the strongest alloy would have been. If something had attacked them from below, which had already happened a few times, the raft was not going to be destroyed unless the attacking nightmare happened to be truly terrifying. Sunny and Jet had ventured into the strait on top of the covetous coffer, hoping to leave the winter beast's area of influence in about a day, and they had. Sadly, the situation did not really improve after that. As it turned out, there are numerous nightmare gates hidden below the cold waters of the ocean. Perhaps there are too many, or perhaps the look had truly been atrocious. But even now, a week later, Sunny and Jet had yet to encounter a place where the call of the nightmare would not instantly whisk them away if they had tried to leap to the dream realm. At this point, it would be easy for them to actually reach East Antarctica. They had made it 2/3 of the way already. The mighty battleships of the government fleet were able to make a trip in about a day or two, but the covetous coffer was much slower, so it was going to take them a few more days to make landfall. Sunny did not feel too much more pressure. Saint was standing guard with Morgan's warbow in her hands, warding off most of the sea creatures. Sunny and Saint were capable of dealing with most of the normal threats. If something they could not deal with were to attack them from the depths, he could use a combination of memories to take flight. If they were attacked in the skies, he would dive deep into the ocean. The only problem was that he had Jet would periodically lose her mind and half-heartedly try to kill him. Sitting in his luxurious chair, Sunny threw a look at Soul Reaper's unmoving corpse and sighed. Damnation. Poor Jet. Fucking losing her tits.
No, she can't do that. Wait.
Jet can't have kids? That sucks. Oh, that sucks, man. Well, you've reached Volume 6. I've barely finished reading Volume 2. Hell yeah. Is Ultras. Or Zeltros even. Casper? No. Gone fishing. Yeah, the storage capacity of the coffer is based on the owner's essence capacity, so normal masters wouldn't be able to store as much as Sunny at this point. Yeah, and the way he uses that to his advantage 9 times out of 10 is fucking hilarious. We'll make it work somehow, don't worry. Amen, amen, amen. Just copy your DNA. Just regrow Jet. Don't worry, Josh, if it's my will, who dares to stop me? True. That's very true. No matter what will happen, we'll defy fate, and Jet will have children. Oh, that's disgusting. I'm gonna stop talking. I'm gonna keep reading. Sunny was not too worried about being able to reach East Antarctica. Unless something truly harrowing rose from the depths of the ocean to devour them, he was certain of his ability to either kill or escape it. However, he was worried about Jet. A week ago, she had been weak, but not necessarily as weak as she was now. Her mental state was only getting worse. He knew that Soul Reaper had been intentionally starving her body of essence in order to consume as much of it as possible, but still. Sunny did not know how much longer she would last. Right now, she would not even be able to afford summoning a memory. Every drop of essence counted, and there was very little of it left in her shattered soul core, which presented a problem. Saint was capable of killing most nightmare creatures that attacked her with her bow, and Sunny was not far behind in terms of lethality. However, Jet was in no condition to kill anything. But despite that, he has considered his options. The corpse stared, then started laboriously crawling in his direction again. Demented delight burning in her glassy blue eyes. Come here. Come here. Sunny stared at her with disdain. Then he shook his head and stood up. His shadow sense sprayed outward, encompassing as much of the world as he could perceive. He remained motionless for a while, allowing the corpse to draw dangerously close. Jet's hollow eyes glistened. Got you. Before she could grab him, however, Sunny sighed and then dove off the edge of the raft, disappearing under the cold water. The graceless dust dissipated into dancing threads of black silk. Jet seemed startled by his disappearance. She fruitlessly crawled at the surface of the raft a couple times, and she grew still. He's gone. A hoarse sigh escaped from her bluish lips. She didn't inhale after that. By now, even breathing was a chore. She didn't really need to do it anyway. The corpse remained motionless for a long time. Eventually, a black blur landed on the raft. Hopping over the corpse and stared at it curiously. A few moments later, the crow tried to peck one of the glassy eyes out, and Jet blinked. You stop that, crow. I'm gonna make you into a soup. The bird hurriedly stepped away, seeming nervous. Soup! Demented Jet's kind of fucked. Low-key, bad for me to say I enjoy Volume 6 the same, if not a little more than Volume 5. I'm excited for you to read it. I mean, yeah. I mean, Volume 6 is pretty low in a lot of people's lists, though, to be fair. Can y'all give your Shadow Slave hear-me-outs? Don't give me boring ones. I'm cracking the terror of LO49. Oh, no, that's a shout. Oh, that's a shout, actually. Give me the Gunlog's armor. Give me the Gunlog's armor. Solvane, the wood version. The Black Sea. Oh, hell yeah. That's a shout. The voice sounded indigent. Soul Reaper looked at the bird silently, then rasped. Did you find land? The crow spread its wings and raved it a couple of times. Land! Land! People have been trashing all over Volume 6, but it's genuinely such a fun read. Gunlog's armor was was so good, even Sunny right now would still find it powerful and useful. Exactly. But I don't want to use it. I want to use it. Different kinds. I'm cracking the mimic. Yeah, that's a hear-me-out. That's fine. The corpse tried to smile, which genuinely looked disturbing. Even Saint spared an indifferent glance. How far is it? The bird ruffles its feathers and made another hop back. Far, far! Jag gritted her teeth. I know it's far, you stupid bird. How far? The echo simply stared at her confusion. After a couple of seconds, she crowed loudly. How? Soul Reaper hissed and then hit her head against the alloy surface of the raft a couple of times. God damn it. That's right, Morty. I fucked the planet. You know what? Just give it a nightmare spell. I'll fuck it. Hear me out. The ordinary rock. Not even the extraordinary rock, just the ordinary rock. You just want to crack a pebble. Honestly, I'm cracking a Shadow Lantern. Obel X Moon and I'll die on that hill. Obel plus the whatever the nightmare creatures on the moon. After the small outburst, she didn't say anything else, remaining still and unmoving. The raft swayed. The raft swayed gently in the waves. Below the raft, hundreds of small metallic feet were furiously paddling in the cold water. On top of it, a living statue, a talking corpse, and a small black bird was silently waiting. This feels like the start of the worst joke. This sounds like the worst joke. Yes, Lamefish. So, someone with good taste. I've been saying Mommy LO49 for ages. Hear me out. The ship is Cassie X Shadow Chair because she likes to watch. My days. Sometime later, the water behind the raft suddenly boiled. The young man with silky black hair and alabaster skin emerged from it, dragging something in a stranglehold. A terrifying creature with long tentacles. That was where the hide of a man's tight was struggling furiously. Trying to free itself, the spongy flesh was awash in the inky black pool. Stop fighting, you bastard! Sonny gritted his teeth and ignored the tentacles that was wrapped around his neck, exerting enough pressure on it to even crush an armored vehicle. Using one hand, he swarmed towards the raft, climbed aboard, and dragged the nightmare creature with him. Saint silently moved to the opposite end of the coffer, so that the weight of the abomination did not make it capsize. The crow flew up and landed on his shoulder, staring at the monstrous creature in apprehension. Sonny pressed the abomination down and barked. Stay still. He was rather angry. Yes, he and Saint were enough to slay. most nightmare creatures that would attack them, either underwater or from the sky. However, capturing one alive, whole different trouble. Jet, get over here! Soul Reaper slowly gathered her limbs and sluggishly tried to stand up. After a few tries, she had succeeded and stood up for the moment. Swaying, Sunny summoned a cruel slide and tossed it to her. Using his knee to press the abomination into the alloy, Soul Reaper caught the spear and used the shaft to help herself straighten up. He held the nightmare creature down and cursed, "Hurry the hell up, this thing is really strong!" Not to mention that it had more limbs than he did. Immobilizing it was a miserable task. Jet shambled over, then spun the somber spear and thrusted it into the center of the mass of furiously dancing tentacles. Using the whole weight of her body to give the strike some force, the silver blade pierced the flesh of the abomination and disappeared inside, causing a river of black blood to flow into the alloy surface of the raft. Miwa, man, fuck! Cassie Mordred had a... Hear me out, Sin of Solace? No, we're not hearing you out. That's a fucked one. That's a cooked one. That's cooked. If you agree, like and subscribe if you haven't already. But that's a cooked. That's cooked. Cassie Mordred has a chance I scream as I put on a straitjacket. We're perverted, not crazy. My choice is the creature on top of the Crimson Spire. The living son of soul damage? Fair. Fair. If it's anything like the woman imposed at the Colosseum, which is what it's meant to be like, then yeah, fair. I completely understand. The corpse of Soul Reaper lost balance and fell flat into the bloody puddle of blood. She remained lying there, not paying attention to the convulsing tentacles, not paying the convulsing tentacles any attention. Slowly, an eerie smile of satisfaction appeared on the dead body's bloody stained face. That feels better. Sunny let go of the slain creature and sent it back into the water with a furious kick. This better be very cartoony. Saint moved back into the middle of the raft, balancing with her prodigious weight. The crow slid off her shoulder and landed on the edge of the pool of the black blood. It stared at her for a moment and called excitedly, "Soup! Soup!" I like Crow. I like Crow. I like Crow. I like it, Crow. I don't know why I'm doing that. The Nameless Son? Yeah, absolutely. I'm 100% hearing him out on that one. I'm 100% hearing him out on that one. You know what? I've been, while I'm at it with the Mimic, give me the fucking Soul Devouring Tree as well. I'm Bliss Maxing. Oh my Jesus fuck. Give me the corals of the tree. I mean, it ain't wrong. That's good soup. I mean, yeah, to be fair. If we're talking Bliss, then give me Hope herself. He's spitting. He's spitting. He's spitting. Give me the 6-armed nightmare creature that was in Nephis' nightmare. Give me that guy. Sunny summoned the graceless dust back and remained motionless for a while. Looking at the dark expanse of the ocean, the sunrise in Antarctica was a long far. By now, the sky was on the precipice of falling into a long period of twilight, but the cold waters still seemed black. After a month or two of dawn, it would be a day for about 4 months, allowing a couple of months of dusk. There would be much fewer shadows around for close to half a year, which meant that Sunny was going to have much harder time fighting. Many of his advantages would disappear. Provided that the forces of humanity would not be able to last that long, of course. There's a good chance that they wouldn't, but there's also a good chance that they would. Weaver? That's not a hear me out. Come on, that's a will. Who said Weaver? Zoltra said Weaver? That's funny. Josh just wants to die. Not even for Jet. Someone said Wormvein, Soulvein. Yeah, who said the wooden version of Soulvein that's in the fucking ship? Who said that? Was that lava or something? I'm surprised y'all haven't said, like, the Storm God. Nah. At that point, just give me both Storm God and Never. I didn't want to say anything. There are so many more I could say, but you're far too behind for me to spoil. Fair. It was me? Alright. Fair. Sorry. It was there who said it. There was a good... oh, yeah. The situation in East Antarctica was much better than that had been in Antarctic Center. In fact, it was more or less exactly what the government had hoped for. After a tumultuous first phase of the operation, all of the population had been relocated to a number of siege capitals. The soldiers had hunkered down, and the people were slowly carried across the ocean to the other quadrants. That process would last until the end of the year, at least. There was 3 field armies of the 1st Evacuation Army currently operating in East Antarctica, which was exactly 3 times more than the single one that had been sent to Antarctica Center. There were also 2 saints there, one of the government's own and the emissary of the Great Clan's song. Once St. Tyrese recovered with her runes, there'd be 3. Oh, so we had 3 saints before, but one of them died. I forgot about that. Well, I didn't forget about it, I'm surprised it didn't get mentioned here. The 2nd Army was on its way as well. They would be making landfall in just a few days, and once that happened, the human forces of the continent would be incredibly bolstered. The 2nd Army was supposed to be composed of twice as many mundane soldiers, awakened masses, and the 1st Army had been. Close to 5,000 awakened had died in the Antarctic Center. By the end of August, that would be 60,000 of them defending East Antarctica. Best of all, there was no winter beast to suppress all the forms of the long-range communications there, allowing the army to operate in a well-oiled machine, like it was supposed to be. That had been enough to withstand the onslaught of the chain nightmares for about 5 more months, but then most of the population would have hopefully been evacuated, and if not, there was a winter solstice. With how rapidly the spell has been spreading in the southern quadrant, the number of awakened was bound to double, or even triple after the solace. All the sleepers created by the chain of nightmares would receive a chance to come into their full power. So, although the forces arrayed against the evacuation effort would continue to grow more dire as time went on, the forces of humanity would swiftly increase too. There was a chance. However, Sonny knew that there was one unpredictable part of the equation that could ruin everything: the Great Clans. Nephis had told him the Southern Campaign was a perfect battlefield for them to wage their war, and so there was a large possibility that Song and Valor would clash in East Antarctica, complicating the already dreadful situation. I need such a in-depth explanation about this whole domain shit, and why it's so important for the fucking... why now for the Clans of Valor to do so? Unless it's because of the rampaging Nightmare Gate sprawling across Antarctica. What? All imp is good for is eating? Don't you dare diss imp like that, you motherfucker. We don't diss imp around here, Coil. We don't do that. Rep the granny who completed her first nightmare but was too old to form a soul core and died. I still remember you. What level do you think she would even like, reach that? At, like, such an old age, too. Like, fucking hell. You'll get your explanation of domains, buddy. I fucking hope so. I sure do hope so. And to answer Dare's question, no. If I spew anything that's not been told to me in the story, in, like, me asking, don't tell me. Do what everyone else does and be like, you'll get it soon enough. Or tell me it hasn't been explained yet. Give me the Lord of Dread and the Catacombs of the Forgotten Shore. Give me the leech. Give me the leech. There was no sense or reason in their insane feud, or at least none that Sunny and Nephis could see, and yet the threat posed by the War of Great Clans was very real. As Sunny looked at the ocean, his eyes glittered with cold, wrathful light. Those bastards! He had not even noticed that when his hands turned into fists. Penny for your faults. Sunny slightly turned and looked at Jet, who was sat up and was wiping the nightmare creature's blood off her face, looking slightly less corpsey, but only slightly. She was still a far cry from the fearsome Soul Reaper he knew. Sunny lingered for a moment and said evenly, "Just thinking about the future." Jet studied him for a bit. "Really? Because you look like you're about to dive back into the water. This time to butcher a few abominations just for fun." She sighed and said wistfully, Why did you throw that one off the raft anyway? You didn't even receive the soul shards." Sunny scoffed. "What do we need soul shards for? You can't use them and neither can I." That thing, meanwhile, was flooding the whole place with its rotten blood. Didn't even have rags to wipe it off. Indeed, soul shards are useless for the both of them. Sunny needs a shadow fragment, which could only be received by slaying enemies equal or higher rank, while Soul Reaper could only replenish her essence and strengthening her core by killing living things. In the outside world, a single soul shard was worth a hefty sum of credits. But here in the raft, Sunny could not have. Sunny would have given 100 of them to just for a mop. Well, okay, maybe not 100. Sunny sighed, and then returned to his chair and sat down. He was growing hungry too. Jet stood up, shakily walking out of the puddle of blood and lowered herself to the alloy surface of the raft. Her eyes had regained a hint of her usual iciness. She remained silent for a bit and said hoarsely, You've been in a dismissal mood this whole time." "I wonder why, Jet. I wonder why." I also realized that my webcam looks fucking stupid with me looking like this. I should be looking... It's on this side for a reason. I should be looking this side. Give me the devouring cloud! I don't need all of them. I just need the 2 tyrants. Because they're not... That's enough for me. I just need the 2 tyrants. That's it. Give me the blood arrow. Give me the Spire Messenger 6 hands, baby. Give me the Nameless Hunter from the Forgotten Shore. I wonder how many soul shards from an awakened beast would be in today's currency. I imagine a fair bit. Hear me out, Shadowslave and Sunny's dream. Oh, his mum? Or his, like, proxy mum in the nightmare? Give me your shadows. Sunny looked at her with amusement. Not only was he amused by the fact that she had apparently enough essence of mind to pay attention to his moods, with all that crawling around and trying to kill him, but the statement itself was more than a little redundant. How else was he supposed to feel after what happened in Falcon Scott? Millions of people died, members of his cohort had died, and even before that, the first irregular company had been completely wiped out. Considering everything, Sunny thought that he had handled himself pretty well in the last week. He smiled darkly. Yeah? Why do you think that is? Jet sighed and then looked away. Doesn't matter what I think. I understand, believe me, I do. In fact, I might just understand it better than you, but Sunny, do you want me to be honest? He stared at her slightly and shrugged. I guess. Usually statements like this were followed by something unpleasant. She looked at the dark waves and shook her head. I think that you might have forgotten who you are, and where you came from. I'm only saying this because I went through the same thing many years ago, when I left the outskirts. I was tempted to forget the truth of things too. And I did, for a little while. But the world has a way to remind you what it really is, and what you should expect from it. Sunny didn't grow soft. You, of all people, know that. He looked at her, her face unmoving. After a few moments, he shook his head. Why are we not in the outskirts anymore? Why are we're not in the outskirts anymore. We're not the same people anymore. A pale grin appeared on Soul Reaper's lips. That is true too. She lied down and stared at the sky silently, and after a while, though, Jet said, Maybe you're right. Maybe people like us have to change too. Inflexible things are the most brittle, after all. But look around. With how things are going, the whole world might just have to end up like an outskirts soon. What are we supposed to do then? Sunny laughed. And the last person you should be asking for advice. What we're supposed to do? I have no idea. I don't even know what we're supposed to do tomorrow, let alone the vague future. Let's just keep things simple today. We need to survive. tomorrow too. After that, we'll see. It would already be nice if we went to pillage. If we have the privilege of having the choice in the matter. Jet turned her head to look at him seriously, and then said in a solemn tone, "I can't survive now. I'm already dead." They stared at each other simultaneously for a few moments, and they both laughed. Oh lord, these dad jokes are gonna get to me, aren't they? The raft continued to drift on the cold waters. From time to time, Saint would raise her bow and shoot a black arrow into the sky, into the dark waters. Every time she did, the spell would whisper into Sunny's ear, announcing a kill. Other times, he would have to dive into the ocean himself to help her deal with the attacking abomination. Shadow fragments slowly trickled into his soul. The next day, Sunny procured another nightmare creature for Jet to kill, and the day after that, one more. On the third day, her crow returned from its scouting trip much sooner than usual, announcing that he had seen land not long before that, and he had saw a dark line on the horizon. On the fourth day, the raft finally reached the inhospitable shore, and the two of them set foot on solid ground again. East Antarctica welcomed them with cold winds, dim twilight, and a familiar call of the whispering nightmare gates. That's a fun little one. We had Sunny contemplating his whole, idea of humanity last chapter, and now we're getting Jet, or last volume, and that's what it seems like. Sunny's gonna remember not only how human he is, he's gonna remember how to be human. So that seems fun. I wonder how many choices you're gonna have to make in this volume then. Give me the sandwich that the random woman made for Sunny and Falcon Scott. I'm gonna add a few layers to that. You want a soggy sandwich? Is that what you want? You want your own soggy sandwich? Respect. Chat, can we call Admiral Food Fucker real quick? Can we call Admiral Food Fucker real quick? Don't forget to add him as well. Just like that. Just like that for me. East Antarctica. East Antarctica was many times larger than that of the Antarctic Center, both in terms of territory and population. Its landscape was also much more varied, in vast plains, long mountain chains, and numerous lakes that range from relatively small to those that were as large as the sea. Somewhere out there, in that cold expanse, 21 siege capitals were currently endorsing the onslaught of nightmare creatures. Each of them was comparable to Falcon Scott in size, and they were very close to 900 million people protected by their walls. I thought it was only 800 million. God damn. God damn. Oh, we talk about nightmare creatures and inanimate objects, but fucking piece of bread is where we draw the line. Yes, absolutely. The living things and inanimate objects. You're not eating that. I want to eat the sandwich. You want to eat the sandwich. Alright, give me Obel soup too. I'm going all the way. He's adding seasoning. He's making that soup extra salty. Reminds me of the Metal Gear hamburger parody of Zone 10 made. Fucking hell, that's a memory. God damn. You food fucker. That shit extra creamy. Christ, give me Sonny's coffee. Not the fuck, I just need coffee right now. Sonny looked into the distance, feeling a bit uncomfortable. In front of him was a vast plain that stretched all the way to the horizon. Covered in snow, it was littered by giant boulders that seemed like solemn monuments of the ancient past, and cut by countless deep canyons. Here and there, hordes of abominations could be seen, flowing across the plains like dark rivers. After months spent in the Antarctic Center, it was strange to be able to see that far. The world was broad and shrouded in a dim twilight, looking quite surreal, Sonny felt, exposed. What a bleak sight. We've lost the plot? Nah. We haven't lost the fight. He's just, Admiral's just accepting his fate as a food fucker. Have you ever played Ghost of Tsushima, Josh? I have. Very, very fun game. I've not played Ghost of Yotei, though. The plot was never here to begin with. That's true. That's true. The only plot that you're seeing is the one that's on screen. Never about the shadow of me. For anyone who is somehow new here, mind you, this is the healthiest chat's been. Oh yeah, especially compared to yesterday. Fucking hell. Inferior in sync beyond compare. One Files was only peaked because there was like 3 people typing at once, or 3 people typing at a time. Like that's fine. Like we can cope with this. Don't forget to like and subscribe, by the way. Never forget. Anyway. It was still better than the poisonous wilderness of the other continents. You could still freely breathe here, at least. There was also much fewer scars left by the destruction walls of the dark times here. Although there were some. He could see the skeletal remains of the massive war machines and the ruins of destroyed towns far in the distance, all covered in snow. With a sigh, Sonny turned around. Behind him was a slope leading onto the ocean shore. Jed had just finished climbing the slope and stopped near him, breathing heavily. She looked at him like a dead woman walking. But at least she was breathing again. That alone made her less unnerving. Soul Reaper remained silent for a few moments and then cursed quietly. There are still gates near us. Indeed, the core was still too strong for them to escape into the dream realm. She studied the plane before looking at him. Do you have a working communicator? Sonny shifted awkwardly and then gestured to the graceless dusk. This is a transcendent armor, you know. It has many wonderful enchantments. Sadly, the one thing it doesn't have is pockets. I used to carry all the useful things inside the spectral storage memory, but all those were destroyed by the Heart of Darkness, so no, I don't have the communicator on me. Indeed, the covetous coffer was more or less empty now. Sonny had spent most of the supplies trying to escape Antarctica, or trying to escape Falcon's Goth, and what little remained was obliterated by the dark beetles. The one thing that had not been able to destroy were the spools of diamond threads of the Ebony Tower. Unfortunately, I was not here yesterday because it was 2 a.m. Fair. That reminds me. Don't forget to remind me in the Discord when streams ended to make me add timestamps onto the second video for when it's like specifically talking about like power ranking and then the manhwa, power ranking, then the manhwa. Don't forget to remind me. Jet side. Pity. Mine was frozen solid. I couldn't even contact the army command then. We can't even contact the army command then. Sonny watched the distant hordes of nightmare creatures for a while. Well, we just have to keep moving deeper inland until we find a safe spot for us to use our anchors. So Reaper grimaced, which looked quite frightening considering her current state. She lingered for a few seconds and shook her head. Moving inland? It won't be easy. This place is in a much better state than the Antarctic Center was, but it's inside the siege capitals. Out here in the wilderness, the nightmare creatures still reign unopposed. You know better than anyone how hard it is to reverse the environment like this. Sonny smiled darkly. Luckily, we don't need to travel for 3,000 kilometers. And here, with no civilians slow us down, hell, there might not even be a murderous sea to flood the entire world every night. Come on, it's going to be a picnic. He called a moment later. The Stygian black steed rose from the shadows. Nightmare snorted. Ominous red flames burning in his eyes. The stallion's adamantite horns glittered dully in the bleak twilight of the early dawn. Nightmare summoned the oversized saddle and went about strapping on his black cruiser. As he did, Jet lectured him with dead eyes. After a while, she suddenly said, "By the way, I never asked, but how the hell did you end up being mongrel? That doesn't make any sense." She paused and then shook her head. Actually, scratch that. In retrospect, it makes too much sense. We met only once when the gate manifested in NQSC, and, I feel embarrassed now. Huh. Her not putting those two dots together is really funny. Has everyone seen the recent Shadow Slave manhwa chapters? Everyone's thoughts? We summarized our thoughts pretty well in the stream. That was last stream? Yeah, pretty good. Yeah, we all read it last stream. The next one file stream is probably going to be on Monday. Because like I said, or Sunday even, because I'm busy tomorrow. Saturday's going to be my day off, and then Sunday we'll probably finish the bottom files. Unfortunately, it could have been there in the morning, y'all. Y'all got crazy sleep schedules. No, we don't. We just can't sleep. Difference between crazy sleep schedules and not being able to sleep at all. You know, insomniacs and all that. Time zones of cinema. My thoughts with that we needed brackets and the Mountain King. We'll get to the Mountain King later. Sonny coughed. I just wanted to train peacefully in the dreamscape. Who knew people would make such a ruckus about me learning a few battle styles? The whole thing went out of control really fast. Believe it or not, I actually wanted to use the mongrel persona to stay under the radar. That plan, yeah, it failed spectacularly. Jet laughed, her voice sounding hoarse and disturbing. Stay under the radar? You call challenging Morgan of Valor staying under the radar? He winced. Well, I might have gotten a little greedy once or twice, but hey, at least I got a very good bow out of it. It's still my best ranged memory. Those Valor Forge Masters really know what they're doing, huh? So Reaper shook her head. You're not too bad yourself, Sonny. I still can't believe you can craft memories. Do you know how rare aspects that allow Awakened to create memories are? There are very few such very few such Awakened outside of Valor, and even those usually only work for powerful legacy clans. Sonny remained silent for a few moments. By that point, there was nothing really preventing him from sharing his insight into sorcery with Jet. They had already learned a lot about each other's secrets, so more wasn't gonna make a difference. Jet's gonna learn that, she's gonna be inside the loop. She's gonna be in completely. Fuck yeah! All she needs now is to be a part of the cohort, like completely, and we've got it. We've got it, dog. Hi, Rush. It feels like it's been a while since we've seen you. I might be crazy, though. Sonny, oh no, the consequences of my actions. To be fair, he didn't want to fight her. We gotta remember that. Sonny didn't want to fight Morgan. And even Morgan said he held up pretty well. But yeah, no, he got too big for his boots. But it'd be a very long conversation if he explained that he had the ability to create and modify memories. Had not come from his own aspect, but rather from an attribute. He would have to explain what Bloodweave was, which in turn would be required to him to explain much more, and he didn't feel like it. The knowledge would not help Soul Reaper anyway, or anyone else for that matter. As far as Sonny knew, his ability to see and interact with Spellweave was unique. Instead, Sonny glanced at Jet and said, So, what's so special about Morgan anyway? How strong is she? Soul Reaper sighed. Morgan, she's strong. No master is weak, but you need to understand that there are masters and then there are masters, Sonny. Legacies are trained from childhood to be monstrous fighters, and those are just from the lesser clans. Those from the great clans? Well, you can imagine, Morgan is not just any member of Clan Valor either. She is the princess. You know who her father is? Sonny's face darkened. He finished dealing with the saddle and crossed his arms. What about you then? Are you stronger than Morgan? Jet stared at him with hollow, dead eyes. A corner of her mouth twitched upwards. Me? Maybe. Probably not. If we had a fight, I would most likely lose. Not because I'm weaker, just because Morgan has a vast resource of valor behind her. Echo, memories, Echo, soul shards. You can't imagine how much power the great clans have hoarded over the decades. People like us don't have the same foundation. So I wouldn't want to fight one of the heirs. If there was an option not to, that goes to your friend Song Sisen as well. He scoffed. It's a bit of a stretch to call us friends, and I think you're selling yourself short. I fought a couple of the masters from Valor, you know? They're not that tough. So Reaper grinned. Oh really? How come you ended up stuck how come you ended up stuck in a Waking World for half a year then? That's not their fault. Like, at all. Actually, no, that's no, that's bullshit. That's not any of the Valor's fault. Like, if he really wanted to, he could do it. He just didn't want to get in trouble. Too much trouble, at the very least. He stared at her for a moment. Good point. With that, he jumped onto the saddle, looked at Jet from above, and offered her a hand. Come on, climb up. She hesitated, prompting Sunny to raise an eyebrow. What? What's up? Jet cleared her throat. What do you mean, what's up? I don't know how to ride a horse. Why would I... Why would I know how to ride a horse? I've never ridden one. I've never even seen one before, Eureka. Sonny blinked a couple of times and then suddenly laughed. That laugh surprised him, because he had not thought of himself capable of laughing after Falcon Scott. God, you don't need to ride anything. I control the horse. You just sit in front of me and don't fall off. I'm making sure you can handle that. I'm sure you can handle that much at least. Jet sighed. I don't know why that was so funny to me. Jet sighed and then grabbed his hand and jumped up. Nightmare exhaled loudly through his nostrils, confused as to why a corpse was sitting on top of him. The Shadow God was the god of death, though, so the Shadow Steed must have been accustomed to such things happening. Or not. In any case, he would have to deal with it. Jet looked down nervously. Sonny, how fast is your horse exactly? He smirked. Pretty fast. With that, Sonny sent Nightmare forward. Soul Reaper would have yelped, but she was still having trouble breathing, so all she could produce was stifled hisses. The nightmarish steed carried the dead woman and divine shadow as it raced across the snow-covered plain, moving deeper into the cold expanse of its doomed continent. I'm loving this. I'm loving the, Sonny and Jet little adventure files. Jet's just scared of horses. Trust? I mean... if we've learned anything about Jet, she can handle a horse. Chapter 1065, Reaper. If you don't know what I'm talking about, don't question it. Nightmare was flying across the twilight plain, ignoring all obstacles. He had cut through the snow, maneuvering between giant boulders, crested hills, and jumped across deep canyons. His steel hooves sending sparks flying in the weathered stone. The dark disaster was swift as a shadow, moving with innate grace and incredible speed. Sunny was sitting on the saddle holding Jet. She was basically in his embrace. In the past, being so close to her would have made his blood boil, but right now, he didn't feel anything. Not just because Soul Reaper was cold and lifeless like a corpse, but also because his heart was just cold, and just as lifeless. He did not feel much of anything right now. I saw the ellipses. Except for the deep, dark rancor. There was no time to either. Sonny might have joked about his journey would have been akin to a panic, but in truth, the situation was still dire. East Antarctica was teeming with nightmare creatures, and he was not conceit enough to think himself capable of slaughtering entire hordes of them. He probably could. With Nightmare in sight, probably good. Sonny knew that he was strong, but he also knew his limitations of his strength. Bullshit. All of Antarctica had shown us that Sonny has no fucking idea of his upper limits. He had been taught a better lesson on the topic of the winter beast after all. Oh, I'm so sorry you couldn't find a fucking, top tier beast. Literally the strongest nightmare creature we've seen next to a literal fucking god. Right now, his best friends were caution and speed. His shadows were scouting ahead, searching the nightmare creatures that lay in wait. Some of them he would avoid, some he would escape from relying on how swift Nightmare was. Staring clear of the migrating hordes was not too hard, but the smaller swarms and solitary abominations were a challenge. Still, Sonny had not been forced to summon Saint yet, let alone enter a battle himself. They had traversed a good distance. They hid in the deep ravine waiting for a large horde to move away. As the river of monsters was gone, Nightmare dashed forward once again. A raise and repeat. My throat's killing me. How many horsepower is Nightmare? I mean, he's faster than... he's significantly faster than average armored vehicles. He's faster than a Rhino, which is faster than the average armored vehicles, plus it's imbued with magic and shit. Magic, science, and shit, so... No idea, because I don't know horsepower. The C is tech. Ah, yeah, fair. How much we're reading today? Great question. No idea. Probably like 2 more chapters. Finding a safe spot to enter the True Dream Realm was proven to be more difficult than he had thought. There have been places where the pull of the core was not strong enough to disrupt their anchors, but all of them were crawling with nightmare creatures. Slaying the abominations was not out of the question, but Sonny felt reluctant to create a lot of noise. Who knew what else they would attract by the noise of the battle. And so, further and further he went. Eventually, he had to admit that solving the problem was not going to be a fast affair. As such, Sonny had to change his tactics. He had not eaten in a long time, and Jet was losing essence. They had to hunt. Sonny had spent some time finding a swarm of nightmare creatures that would have been sufficiently small and isolated. After that, he commanded Saint to pour an arrow into the abominations and slow them down with the burden of peace, enchantment of the black bow. Then Sonny sent Soul Reaper on the beast and watched from the shadows as she butchered them. She was still weak and low in essence, however. The creatures were merely awakened, and weighted down at the soul arrows. On top of that, he would have to interfere. He was there to interfere if something was to go wrong as well. Sonny was confident that the dead companion would be able to handle the swarm, and indeed, she did. To convert her essence, Jet shunned summoning any memories and attacked abominations with his bare hands. However, as Sonny quickly found out, Soul Reaper was a terror to behold even while weakened and unharmed. When she struck the abominations, her hands simply passed through their flesh, directly shattering their soul cores. More than that, Jet was already dead. Her body could still be damaged and would perish if it was entirely destroyed, but she was not plagued by many of the weaknesses that most living beings shared. She could not bleed to death, but she could not bleed to death, but can ignore the wounds that would cripple or kill any human. Jet was able to dismiss even the most severe internal injuries, continuing to fight without ever slowing down. Even if her lungs were crushed and her heart was pierced, she would simply continue to kill. Not even crushing Soul Reaper's skull would stop her. As long as she had absorbed enough essence, her dead body would eventually heal, or rather, restore itself. Faced with an unstoppable monster, even Sonny would feel a hint of dread. Good thing we're on the same side. In the end, it would not take long for Jet to slaughter the small swarm of awakened abominations. She had killed them with her bare hands, beginning a little strength with each kill. Throughout all of this, her face remained unnervingly calm, like that of someone forcing on a boring chore. Then, a disturbing little smile appeared on it. Sonny was forced to remember his first conversation with the teacher. Back then, the old man had called Jet a murderous savage and a psychopathic killer. Sonny used to think that people were prejudiced against Jet because of her background, but now, knowing what he knew, he could see how strangers could come to such a conclusion that Soul Reaper enjoyed killing simply for the sake of killing. Very few people knew that she needed to continuously absorb essence to survive, after all. Who wouldn't be unsettled after witnessing something like this? When the last of the nightmare creatures fell to the ground, Jet straightened and closed her eyes for a moment, exhaling with satisfaction. She looked like a fiend that had just crawled from the depths of hell, awash in blood, body riddled with ghastly wounds, and eerily beautiful despite all that. Shaking his head, Sonny emerged from the shadows and went about dressing down on the abominations to collect meat. At the same time, Saint started salvaging soul shards. Jet remained motionless for a while and then looked at him. There was some vitality now in her eyes. She smiled and said, "What are we doing now?" Sonny looked at her somberly. "Now go wash yourself. You might be dead, but I'm not, and I can smell things." That's funny. I can't wait for Sonny to get Shadow Sniff. Or, yeah, Shadow Sniff. And he can smell everything. A regular horse is about 15 horsepower and nightmares faster than a rhino, which can which did 200 kilometers in a few hours, so several thousand horsepower, give or take. Yeah, that sounds about right. I wish Jet attacked me with her bare hands. Same lava. Every day I discover I have long-lost brothers. You're all deprived.
Me next, me next, me next, me next, me next.
Fateful imitation. Oh, so you got a copy Jet? Can you even do that properly? Sometime later, they were hidden in a small cave at the bottom of a deep canyon. Sitting in front of a fire, a small piece of monster meat was roasting on it, filling the cave with a delicious smell. Sonny was a bit sully, because it had taken all of his knowledge of wilderness survival to make a small fire. Snowy reaches of the Antarctic was not exactly the best place for searching for fuel. He was almost used to use the divine flame of the cruel sight to cook, which would inevitably result in an atrociously burnt dinner for him. The mods are pretty much just a big family. Kirbs is the annoying little brother, and the comic relief, Harsh is Admiral's pet, and Admiral's the other brother. A brother from another mother. I mean, yeah, pretty much. We are all beyond saving. Not me, though. Y'all stay safe. Zol just doesn't want to be saved. He knows exactly where he wants to be. I just realized, why has that been like that? How long has that been like that? I'm the lovable little bastard, you brother. Currently, Sonny had been passing time by trying to play a simple melody on the flute made of the emerald bone. Kai would have probably become ill if exposed to his musical talent, but Jet didn't seem to mind. She stared at the fire, flames reflecting in her icy blue eyes, and after a while, she suddenly said, "I can smell things too, you know. When I'm sufficiently full in essence, my aspect might only give me a semblance of life, but it's a faithful imitation." Sonny lowered the emerald flute and looked at her gloomily. "What I'm hearing is you want to rob me of some of my meat, right?" Jet lingered for a moment and grinned. "Right, that's exactly what I meant. I'm hungry too." He sighed and then hung more meat above the fire. Should have just said so. Gods. Is it up, what is up with me anyway, finding some gluttonous woman? It never... No, that's so fair. Nephis, Effie, and Jet, all hilariously gluttonous women. I'm just waiting for Cassie to snap. Sonny turned over the meat, and after a while, following the whim, he asked, "How did you end up in with a wicked flaw anyway? I thought mine was bad, but if I had survived the first nightmare only to be killed by the spell during the assessment, I would have been pretty upset." He didn't really understand how it would work. Jet lay down, staring at the stone roof of the cave, and sighed and shrugged slightly. "No, it wasn't the assimilation, actually. I did not survive the first nightmare. I was young and weak and frightened. So, I died." "Hi, Nightshade." I would like for... Fucking... Jesus Christ. Cassie's tastes are more voluptuous. What does that say? Voyeuristic? The text is too... That... Voyeuristic. With a side of popcorn. Cassie is petty and isn't physical. Her tastes are more spiritual. The amount of precious memories she has devoured. Anyway, that's interesting. She had died in the first nightmare. Soul Reaper turned her head and looked at him with across the fire. But it didn't remain completely dead. I crawled out the cave somehow, and I finished the trial. I guess the role I played in the nightmare, or maybe my innate attribute, created the possibility of something like that happening. If it had to be infinitely small possibility, though, because the spell seemed rather impressed with my result, otherwise it wouldn't give me a supreme aspect. Sonny did not answer. Considering what he heard, it made sense. He had also he also made something nearly impossible happen during the first nightmare. If he had not been sent into a body of a temple slave, the shadow girl would have not responded with the unintentional call. And if he had not been fated attributes, he would have never unwillingly climbed onto the altar, most likely. Many things had to come together to create that possibility. He had been the one to grasp it, though. Everyone else would have failed. Sunny looked at Jet silently, thinking about her flaw. What would happen if he gave her Weaver's mask? Would she come back to life? In his heart, he knew the answer. After learning about Weaver, the spell, and the vicissitudes of fate, Sunny developed an intuition about these things. Jet would indeed come back to life, but her soul would remain shattered. And like all living things with a broken soul, she would instantly die. This time forever. Her cruel flaw, mockingly, was the only thing allowed her to exist. What about his own flaw? Sonny tried to imagine a life where he would not be able, where it would be inevitable to lie. The inability to lie. Would it have been easier? Would it have been harder? It would have been harder, I feel like. Hi, Dante. My headcanon is that Jet unlocked her flaw naturally. Her flaw... she unlocked it during this first nightmare, and the spell was like, I mean, you got it now. He would have not been enslaved, that's for sure, but he would have also never gotten close to other people, choosing to lie and manipulate them instead and trusting them out of fear or of being rejected and betrayed. And for that reason, he would have probably died a long time ago, or at least turned into something ugly and twisted. Was that the lesson he was supposed to learn? Yes. Yes! Weaver, you hypocrite. Weren't you self the master of lies? Sonny shook his head and concentrated on not burning the meat. These philosophical questions were a waste of time. He would still choose to rid the floor in an instant if he could. Jet sighed, breaking the silence. Actually, learning my flaw was not the hardest part. The hardest part was surviving the time between the nightmare and the solstice. As you can imagine, it's not easy for a sleeper to find things to kill before entering the dream realm. I ended up having to ask for help. Asking for help ended up costing me a lot. Sonny shifted slightly. Who did you ask? She chuckled. Who do you think? Just like you had been invited to the academy as a sleeper, and just like you had been asked for the details of my aspect. On a voluntary basis, of course. But what would an ignorant kid from the outskirts know? I told them everything, and at that moment, they had a wonderful leash to keep on me. Jet remained silent for a few moments. It was fine, though. Even without it, I would have chosen the same. I'm happy with how things turned out. Still. She grew quiet, and added wistfully, it would have been nice to have more of a choice. Sonny did not speak for a while, and eventually he said, yeah, it would have been nice. With that, he judged that the meat was ready and cut off the fire. Yeah, your dinner's ready. They concentrated on the food, content to be safe for a moment, with something tasty to eat. Sonny could vividly remember the times when eating anything, let alone actual meat, would have been a cause for celebration. Jack could too. Those times were gone, and no matter how complicated and hard their lives had become, sitting in a damp cave located in the depths of a dying continent, Sonny stared at the fire and thought, I guess it's an improvement. With your shield. I'm really loving this. I'm really loving this. I'm loving learning about Jet, remembering aspects of this world. I couldn't have asked for anything better, frankly. This is the main part. This is the main reason why I wanted to read these chapters live. Yeah, that's fair. How many chapters did I get recommended to go read live? It's in the Shadow Slave section. I think I got it pinned. Chapter 1061 to 1075, 1079 to to 1129, 1135 to 1151, and 1185 to 1230, and then basically all of Volume 7. I'm probably not gonna stick to that though. I'm probably gonna free will it my own way, most likely. I love talking chapters. Yeah, the truth is the greatest lie, if all, Sonny. She's mommy Jet, so infinite goatness. Yeah, that's true. Soon, Sonny and Jet continued their journey. The landscape of East Antarctica remained the same, and so the dangers they faced. The two then traveled across the desolate plain, sometimes avoiding nightmare creatures, sometimes engaging in short and furious battles. Sonny felt a little numb, and he was glad to have the task of focus on. With all of his attention concentrated on keeping them alive, he had no time for unnecessary thoughts, which suited him just fine. Jet, meanwhile, was slowly recovering her powers. The more abominations she killed, the less like a corpse she looked. At some point, she allowed herself to summon a few memories, and was wearing a light blue armor that was made of black, lustrous leather. Now that she wielded a weapon, her lethality had soared too. For Sonny, it was fascinating to watch Jet slowly come to life. Her eyes were once again the familiarly icy blue, her movements becoming as swift, murderous, and purposeful as they had been before. This was the first Soul Reaper he knew. She might not have reached the peak condition yet, but she did not resemble the shambling corpse anymore either. All of Volume 7 is torturous. I mean, that's what it fucking looks like in the pin comment, man. What's King Silver recommended at the very least. Most interesting of all, her lifeless shadow had regained its vitality. By now, he would have never suspected that a person in front of him was not actually alive. A few days passed, and a few more. 2 whole weeks had passed since the destruction of Falcon Scott, and he had spent half that time closing the strait, and half traversing the snowy plain. The plain was as inhospitable and vast as ever. Hey, let's go! Read the start of Volume 7 on your own. Oh, okay. So opposite of Volume 6 then. Got it. But hey, good job, man. Good job, Doc. Sonny made Nightmare stop, waiting for his shadow to assess the size of the distant horde of nightmare creatures. These past few days, there were more and more abominations around, all moving in the same direction, weaving between them as growing harder. Somewhat bored, he shifted in his saddle and asked, "Hey, do you think the government considers us dead?" Jet, who was sitting in front of him, turned her head and gave him an amusing look. Sonny sighed. No pun intended. Jet chuckled. "I don't think so. They have to know such things. The divers, for example. We were probably marked as missing in action if anyone had time to do the paperwork." Sonny wanted to continue the conversation, but fell silent. A silent frown appearing on his face. Soul Reaper raised an eyebrow. "What is it?" He shook his head. "Shh! Listen." At that moment, the wind carried over the sound of a distant thunder. The sound of a rainstorm was raging somewhere far away, but Sonny had spent too much time with the army to not recognize it. The two of them exchanged a meaningful glance. Jet smiled. Railguns. Indeed! The thunderous sound could only be produced by the massive augments. Commanding Nightmare to turn, Sonny sent his steed in the direction where the thunder was coming from. The black stallion flew across the desolate plain, eventually cresting a tall hill. In front of them was a vast lake in the dim twilight. Its surface seemed restless and grey. The shield of ice covering the lake had long been broken by the gargantuan carcasses floating on the cold water like a dark island. Small nightmare creatures were swarming around them, greedily devouring the flesh of the fallen giants. On the other side of the lake, toy alloy walls rose from the shore, with thousands of augments unleashing a devastating barrage of tungsten rounds on the encouraging mass of abominations. Sonny could even discern the small shapes of the soldiers and the awakened on the battlements. A long sigh escaped from his lips. A siege capital. Summoning the Sinosaur, Sonny closed his eyes for a moment, then he sent Nightmare galloping down the hill. The black steed rushed towards the lake, surrounded by a tide of moving shadows. Returning from the dead had turned out to be much more chaotic than Sonny had expected. The fighting through the horde of nightmare creatures had to reach the siege capital was not the most tumultuous part. He was actually accustomed to that thing. The reaction of the people inside the stronghold were much more intense. At first, the commander of the city's defenses seemed polite, but unfriendly. After all, the sudden appearance of two Ascended outside the walls during the first battle had put a lot of pressure on him. Fields at fire had to be rearranged, a safe corridor created. Perhaps his soldiers would have had to sortie to protect the unexpected guests. However, the later measures had not been needed. Sonny fought his own way to the wall and then scaled it himself. And when the masters in charge learned that the two Ascended had come from the Antarctic Center, his demure completely changed. Falcon Scott? But the man stared at them with wide eyes for a moment. Then, something akin to joyous pride ignited in them. Sonny did not really know what the master was feeling so proud about, but at least the unfriendliness immediately dissipated. I love that. God, the amount of people that are going to look at these two and be like, Jet, I understand. You? I know you survived the Forgotten Shore, but how the fuck did you do that? And then the remaining people who recognize Sonny at like one of the siege capitals goes, well, yeah, it's the devil. It's the what? We all knew Sonny was gonna live. We're just surprised he actually made it. We're just surprised he made it here. Sonny better say, are you crazy? And what the spell? In a moment, or I'm leaving. No, I feel like anytime G3 describes as somebody cursing, I feel like they're just gonna throw in the fuck shit, cunt kind of shit, you know? Honestly, I see the Mumma of Shadow Slave to have a lot more potential, but the problem lies that they're making one chapter to cover up one chapter. Chapter to cover one chapter. That doesn't make sense. Because they said they want to cover Season 1 in 60 chapters, so they're definitely going to speedrun a lot of it. Or at least convert 2 chapters at a time. For longer winded chapters that are more conversational, like between Nephis, Sunny, and Cassie, when they're on top of, like, the statues, yeah, I can see those going on for, like, maybe per chapter. But action scenes, I can't see that. I don't see, actually, I think they're probably going to shorten down how long the Soul Devouring Tree is going to be. If anything. Anyway. God's grace, this is great. I need to inform. No, wait. Are you guys wounded? Do you need medical attention? Crap, what am I saying? Wait, Arctic Center? And then your Soul Reaper Jet, Ascended Jet, ma'am. Of course, you would make it. The news about the annihilation of the Arctic Center field army must have already spread throughout the quadrants, so the sudden appearance of 2 Ascended survivors had an explosive effect. The soldiers, who had been depressed and dispoignant about the fate of their comrades, were all suddenly full of joy and ardor. It was as though their own siblings had returned alive beyond the grave. Sonny had not experienced being stared at so intently, even when masquerading as mongrel. The two of them were promptly brought to the local government headquarters and showered with attention, especially Jet. From what Sonny could understand, the government stationed in East Antarctica was coming to the siege capital to welcome the woman back personally. Sonny was soon going to meet the Saint too. After a short debriefing, during which the government agents could not stop staring at him, he finally exhaled and relaxed a little. That was strangely exhausting. Sonny spoke to Jet, agreeing to meet the next morning and then spend a lot of time in the living quarters assigned to him. He enjoyed the warm shower, the scrumptious meal, and some peace and quiet. Peace and quiet. It felt so strange not to have to fight this life and millions of others people without a reprise. He wondered how long the peace would last. Eventually, Sonny placed a tether inside his room and quietly slipped out of the waking world. He went to visit the ivory tower. Oh, now I can't. I was gonna end it here, but I'm not gonna fucking end it here. You taking the piss? Sonny has too much life in his eyes in a Monwa. Sonny has too much life in his eyes. He looks too handsome. Like, half the time he's looking like a L'Oreal advert. Hey, Zexter. 2 hours late. How's stream going? It's going fine. Volume 6 so far is starting off fantastic. It's starting off exactly how I wanted Volume 6 to start off as. Good banter between Sonny and Jet. We even got to learn a lot more about Jet, too. So I'm getting pretty much everything I've wanted so far. I still haven't posted that video. Bollocks. Hi, Cherry. There was already 5 chapters, which I believe covers the first third of the first nightmare. Yeah. When I made the video, when I made the video talking about the Monware, I think I said it covers about the first quarter, first third. Because don't forget, them traveling up the mountain takes a fair amount of time. They pettified him. He became a twink. Sonny was already a twink. Let's not go there. Sonny was a twink anyway. He was a pretty boy. He's a flower boy. We knew that. Now for more cohort shenanigans. Yes, 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 yes. The L'Oreal model is cracking me up. I need to see Sonny as Ken Kaneki from Tokyo Ghoul. I need to see a L'Oreal advert about him. I need I need to see an aftershave ad with him. Like, all of it. I need all the fucking memes about this. No, the Mountain King, he became a twink. Oh yeah, no, I don't like how they made the Mountain King. Ooh, we're finally here. Amen. I forgot to change the chapter title. My bad. A Changed Man. Please show me Cassie. Show me Cassie, baby. Changed Man. On a beautiful island of the ancient trees and emerald grass, a lone figure suddenly appeared out of thin air. It was a young man with alabaster skin, wearing a simple tunic of fine black silk. He remained motionless for a few moments when he walked to the edge of the island and froze here, looking down. Not for the wind, if not for the wind, with the young man's black hair, he would have looked like a exquisite statue. The Ivory Island has changed a bit in the past few months. The Great Progander itself was the same, of course, but the comely wood buildings created by the Firekeepers now resemble a small, peaceful village that blended harmoniously into the landscape. The ancient trees of the grove were now fruitful and hanging by the branches, each looking ripe and delicious. The white bones of the ancient dragon still bathed in sunlight, and the graceful ship was still swaying in the palace surface of the clear lake. There was one big change that startled Sonny a lot, though, pulling out of his reverie. What the hell? Looking down, he did not see the familiarly black abyss of the sky below. Instead, he saw a mosaic of flying islands all connected by a colossal chain slowly floating by. The Ivory Island was moving. Cassie, how the fuck? Cassie, did you learn rune magic? Did you learn how to tether the island to the chained isles? Cassie, Cassie, what the fuck? What? Or is this a natural event happening? I forgot how AFK Cassie has been for the past few volumes. Cassie appeared, like, twice in Volume 5? Although the movements were very slow, it was already left the empty expanse of the Tead below, or behind. It was now drifting through the clouds upwards of the southern border of the Chained Isles. Sonny blinked a couple times. Since when could this thing move? He lingered for a while, studying the landscape below, and then walked along the edge of the Ivory Island. It seemed that many things had changed when he had been in Antarctica. Soon he had reached the waters of the clear lake, which glittered and shone with the reflective sunlight. There was a stone bench near the shore, and a familiar figure sitting on it with a fishing rod in her hand. A tall, attractive, brimming with vitality, Effie was relaxing in the sun and watching the lake. Sonny walked closer and remained silent for a while. Eventually he said, "There's actually fish in the lake?" Effie shrugged lazily. Who knows? That's what I'm trying to find out. Hopefully I can develop a taste for fish and sea monsters. I've been soaking a shit for an entire month. Then she suddenly froze and slowly turned around. Effie's hazel eyes shone in glee. "Sonny? Is that you?" He smirked. Who else would it be? Oh, God. Put me down, you savage idiot. Effie! It's been so long! God, it's been so long since we've seen your beautiful ass. Fucking hell, girl. The huntress had instantly swept him up into a crushing hug. And considering the height difference, Sonny felt his feet leaving the ground. His voice was full of righteous indignation. I said, God, don't you have any modesty? Let me go! Evie exploded with laughter and put him down. It was a good thing, too. Sonny was close to using his feather of truth to turn him as heavy as a huge chunk of marble. He only hesitated because that might not have no effect on her. I mean, yeah, fair. Now she has the arm to crash. When I first read The Mountain King, I thought it was an insectoid. Because of how they described him affecting other people and turning into a larvae. When did you arrive? Wait. Where the hell are you? Nev told us you were alive, but the news of Arctic Center. Doofus, are you really alright? What happened? Oh god, yeah. They must be stressing the fuck out. Sonny gave her a relieved look and shook his head. Just now, East Antarctica. I guess for what happened. He sighed. Let me think for a moment. I went through 6,000 kilometers of abominable infested mountains, received a couple of medals, traversed an endless tunnel full of elemental darkness, got killed by a titan, killed that titan back, led a convoy of tens of thousands of refugees to safety, rode a saint into the depths of the ocean to fight a corrupted terror, killed that terror, got blown up, got killed, then killed some nightmare creatures, then lost to a different titan, crossed the strait on a raft, rode a horse all the way to the nearest siege capital, and that pretty much covers it all, I guess. Also, I learned how to play a flute. A little. Sonny paused and looked at Effie nonchalantly. And what's the news with you? She stared at him for a moment, then grinned, wrapped her arms around his shoulder and pulled him towards the tower. I see, sort of usual. Don't think you're gonna get out of telling us what really happened. Don't think that you're getting out of really telling us what happened, though. We've been worried sick, you know? Kai almost had a heart attack right before we disembarked to East Antarctica. When the news of what happened in Falcon Scott reached us, even the princess seemed a bit shaken. I swear to dead gods, I almost saw her having a facial expression. Yo, Neff is catching a stray. Come on, let's find the rest of the guys. Neff is getting a fucking stray like that's crazy from Effie. Sonny estimated his chances of struggling free from Effie's hold, as moderate, but then just relaxed and allowed himself to be led towards the Avery Tower. That was why he had come here, after all, to speak to the other members of the cohort. He needed to share a lot of practical knowledge with Kai and Effie, as well as speak with Nephis and Cassie about the Great Clans. Oh god, I miss this. I miss this stupid fucking banter. Sonny gives the best and worst summaries. Oh yeah, but that's the fun of Sonny. Sonny's never gonna give you the entire truth. He's gonna bracket it up like this, because he doesn't want to trauma dump all that much. Effie loves her strays. Nonchalant Nephis catching strays. Nephis blushing at a nightclub was one of the best moments in the novel. Nephis only really emoting around Sonny will always be one of my favorite character moments of Nephis. And Sonny's relationship specifically. Fucking hell! Hi, Philip! Feels like it's been a while since we've seen your face around here. But more than that, he simply just wanted to see them. There was a lot of darkness and confusion in his heart, but his friends, his cohort, despite all the complicated matters between them, they were a small island of stability in the chaos. Unpredictable, deadly world they were living in. I love this. I love this. He had missed them all, even though, perhaps, he shouldn't have. The 4 months Sonny had spent in Antarctica changed a lot of things, making some seem unimportant, and some more significant than they used to be. He shook his head. Fine, I'm coming. Can you let me go now? Sonny sighed. At least she did not joke about the graceless dusk. And at that moment, Effie gave him a mischievous look. Doofus, I couldn't help but to notice what a nice dress you have. He gritted his teeth. Tunic? It's a tunic. It's a transcendent armor, which is not a dress, but a tunic. Blind or what? Little brother Sonny is back at it again. Let's go! Oh, I've missed this. Oh, I've missed this. Oh, my face is gonna hurt by the end of the stream from smiling too much. The secrets of the island. He's doing what? The great hall of the ivory tower made Sonny shiver, just like the last time he had seen it. It was bathed in a bright sunlight that poured through the tall and narrow windows. A circle of chains lay in the middle of the hall. It was a gateway. And there was no one here but Effie. Effie pulled Sonny to the staircase that led to the underground level of the tower. Its roots were deep, seemingly reaching into the very heart of the island. That stairwell spiraling along the outer wall of the Proganda, there was a tapestry of beautiful carvings on the ivory stone. The carvings told the story of the golden age of the Kingdom of Hope, long before it was destroyed by the Lord of Light. Wait, I don't think there was ever a way down before. Was it hidden? Confused, Sonny silently followed Effie. Eventually, I was about to say, I don't remember this specific building having an underground section. Eventually, the two of them had reached the vast circular chamber at the bottom of the stairwell. Sonny had never been here before, but expected it to be similar to the lowest level of the Ebony Tower, and indeed it was. However, it was entirely different. A duplicate tower created by Never was full of darkness, and there was ghastly mountains of discarded mannequins occupying the center of the underground level. The exchange, however, was suffused with light. There was a vast and inconceivably complicated runic circles carved into the floor of the chamber, and within, Sonny stared, not having noticing the two people studying the circle. His body shivered slightly. Is that? 1 minute. I completely forgot to answer this message, and it's important. I'm sorry. Okay. Whew. If you're worried about smiling too much, wait for Volume 7. Had me cheesing. From what I understand, Volume 7 is going to be like my... From what I've been told... Oh, what did I do? I hit something. Someone is something, and I don't think I meant to do that. Okay, never mind. Shit's not fixed. From what I've been told, from what I've been described, Volume 7 might be my least favorite out of the big arcs. But, I don't know. I'm excited, though. Is that? Floating in the air at the center of the chamber was a rough, radiant crystal. It was larger than Sonny and gave him a feeling of sublime, awesome, indescribable power. The crystal was like a miniature sun, flooding the underground hall with a soft light. Reality itself seemed to ripple and shine around it. It was nothing like Sonny had ever seen, and a familiar voice answered, pulling him out of his astonishment. Whoa! You don't want to be told anything about Volume 7. Yeah. Josh, would you consider... Josh, who would you consider as the little sibling of the core? I can't decide between Cassie and Sonny for me. The pair of them are. What? It's both of them. Cassie's the little sister, Sonny's the little brother. Effie's the oldest sister. Nephis is the second oldest sister. Nephis is the second oldest sister that can keep shit in charge and will not take shit from anybody. Effie's the oldest sister who will fuck around with you. And Kai's the little brother who got everything he ever wanted. He's like the inverse of the little brother trope. Yes, from what we can tell, this is a divine soul shard. I was not prepared for that. I was not prepared for a divine soul shard. What? He slowly turned his head and looked at Cassie, who was sitting in front of the runic circle surrounded by notebooks, enchanting and writing implements. She was wearing simple jeans and a white t-shirt. Her pale gold hair gathered in a messy knot bun. I'm not gonna lie, this entire look would fold me. I'm gonna be so honest with chat. That simple description of the look would fold me in half. Sunny lingered for a moment, not knowing what to say. A divine? Jet's the mum of the group. Let's get that correct. Jet's the mum. She's like 10 years older than everybody there. And at that moment, however, a different voice interrupted him. Sunny! He looked up and only noticing Kai, who was hovering high above the runic circle, near the tall ceiling of the chamber. The archer was already descending with considerable speed at that. Oh no. Before Sonny could react, he was subjugated to another hug. God, son, you had us all worried! He gently struggled out of Kai's embrace and met his friend's blinding smile with a pale one of his own. Sorry? I guess I've just been a worrisome person. I only died once in the past couple of months though, so you don't have to worry. You didn't have to worried. Then Sonny looked past the startled anchor, stared at the radiant crystal and took another deep breath. Anyone want to explain to me what's going on here? She's the fun, sassy aunt. You right? No, you're so right. Jet is 100% the fun, sassy aunt. You're so fucking right. Oh my days. Amorjit's the uncle that can get us any kind of drugs on the street. Like, any. Like, he has deep connections, and unfortunately, they're all dangerous. Cassie stood up, sat and massaged her knees when she gave him a soft smile. I'm glad that you're back too, Sonny. Yeah, no. Kai, here's the thing. This is the second time Sonny's canonically died. So this is not even like the first time he's explained it to Kai. He explained it in the first nightmare when second nightmare when he escaped the Colosseum, and he had realized they're looking at each other. I was reading the first 5 chapters of Volume 7. I would read the first 5 chapters of Volume 7 live. They're good. Mordred is the uncle everyone tries to ignore but can't because he keeps getting in trouble by the law. Yes. 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 That is 100% the case. Sonny and Cassie, the 2 little siblings. And unfortunately, they're the 2 siblings that live up to the potential. Effie is the eldest sister that causes shit. Nephis is the second oldest sister who can get everybody wrapped around her finger and tells them what to do. Jet is the cool-ass auntie that everybody wants to hang out with because she can do whatever the fuck you need her to do. And Mordred's the uncle no one wants to associate with whatsoever. Unless he has cool shit around him. And that's almost entirely because he is too troublesome to have around. Man, I'm on a roll here. Yeah, you are. You're just on one. It's great. With that, she took a few steps back and gestured to the floor of the circle chamber. Take a look at that. He looked down, now paying attention to the runic circle carved into the white stone. The weaves of ruins was vast, complicated, and possessed a disturbing familiarity. Sonny frowned. What is a sickening feeling? Then he mentally scaled the runes to many times their size and tilted his head a little. The runes were very similar in style and shape to the ones of the Red Colosseum. Just looking at them reminded him of the harrowing months he had spent in a cage below the arena. Hope sorcery? Cassie nodded. Indeed. We continued to explore the tower after you left and eventually unlocked the path to this chamber. Our reaction was more or less the same as yours. I'm sorry, I'm not getting over the fact that you've got a divine soul shard just there. Just there, charging the shit. Casually. What the fuck? What the fuck's charging the towers? How the fuck did he get the divine soul shard? She shook her head. The Ivory Islands holds more secrets than we thought. Well, Nephis will probably be able to explain it better. In any case, we quickly realized that these ruins enable the ones you had encountered in the ancient theater. So the Firekeepers went on an expedition to the western edges of the Chained Isles. The Red Colosseum had long been turned to ruins and teeming with all kinds of dreadful nightmare creatures. It took some effort to eradicate and clear the floor of the arena. A ruin? Good. Kai nodded. Effie and I couldn't participate because we got tied up in settling into our roles at the Second Army. However, since Cassie returned, I had been hoping to study the runic circle from time to time. A high vantage point helped see it in its entirety, and so on. We made a little progress even. Most because Cassie had spent a lot of time with Noctis and learned many things, especially about the flying ship of his. She nodded. Yes, in fact, I suspect that the enchantments on the ships were deprived from the same desire creations. There are many similarities, so after months of studying and studying comparisons, we managed to decipher a tiny portion of the circle. It's not much, but it did allow us to access one of the island's hidden functions. Sunny stared at her silently for a few moments and then said, "Is that why the island's moving?" Cassie nodded with a smile. She's so fucking happy with herself. She's like, "You damn fucking right. You damn fucking right. Remember who I am, bitch. Remember who the fuck I am. And y'all should remember to like and subscribe because there's like 10 more of you since the last time I told you to do that. It tells you you enjoy this content. And it recommends me more. And that'd be great." He hesitated for a bit and shook his head. Am I the only one who freaked out about the divine damn soul shard? It's divine! Where did Hope get a divine soul shard? I'm so happy I'm not the only one fucking thinking that. Where the fuck did she get that? Where the fuck did she get that? Effie glanced at the radiant crystal and shrugged. There were only 6 gods, but there were plenty of creatures of the divine rank. The former mistress of this tower included. Sometimes they had fought side by side, sometimes they had fought against each other. Well, of course they did, considering how terrifying this demon of desire was. It was so surprising that she had a divine soul shard or two. So is it so surprising that she had a divine soul shard or two? Yeah, a little bit. Just a little bit. In fact, I'm kind of disappointed that we didn't find any more incredible treasures in her basement. Makes sense, though. The damn dragon must have cleaned all it out ages ago. Yeah, fair. She glanced up in the direction where the bones of the Cerverax were wrapped around the great Proganda. Kai's face darkened a little. He sighed. Why are we talking about this stuff anyway? Sonny's finally back. He must have been sick of the military rations. Let's go, guys. I bet dinner's almost ready. Oh, you know that Firekeeper dinner's gonna be fucking delectable. Is Nephis the one cooking? Then it might be even better. You're underestimating the diamonds so badly. No, I'm forgetting other divine creatures can also exist. Bear in mind the diamonds and the gods. I'm being fucking stupid is what I am. Sonny gave him a long look. Mind if I stay and drool at the shard a little longer? I mean, it's a divine soul shard. Can you imagine how much that thing... Fucking... God damn it, the Ico's talking. Sonny shook his head, his voice full of resultness. No, you can't. I'm going to feed you. And don't think about resisting. Sonny looked at the radiant crystal one last time and said, well, alright, I guess I can go for a bite. Oh, it's so good to get this dynamic back, man. It's so fucking good to get this dynamic back, man. Holy shit. Also, 10 chapters in a day. 10 chapters in 2 hours? Fucking hell, we're on a record here. During the age of the gods, we're probably more uncommon. Yeah, that's true. She's one of the strongest beings literally ever. That's like going to a billionaire's house and being surprised that they have surprised by how much money he has. Still blows my mind when I read the chapter. I mean, when you put it in that context, yes. Sonny, who you sell it to? The government? Who else are you trusting that fucking money with? Who's rich enough to buy it? Actually, you know what? That's a fair point. The government certainly not. Let's be honest. Hi, Kalo. Dysfunctional Citadel. As they went back up the stairs, Sonny couldn't help but to think about what he had seen in the stone chamber at the root of the Great Propaganda. The circle of ruins, the sublime crystal hovering in the middle of it. That had been the core of Hope's Tower, as well as the whole island, the very heart of the Citadel? But what was its purpose? A fucking battery, dickhead. An easy conclusion would be that the Divine Soul Shard was an energy source that powered the enchantments keeping the Ivory Tower afloat. But that didn't make any sense. The ruins had been carved by the Demon Desire herself, which meant that the enchantment had been created before her kingdom was destroyed. Back then, it would have simply be prospering land. There had been no islands, let alone floating ones. Come to think of it, Sunny's not entirely clear how the Kingdom of Hope became the Chained Isles. Had she suspected that the remnants of her shattered kingdom above the devouring flames herself, in order to preserve at least some of it, or had it been engaged by the Sun God? There were other questions too. If the Divine Soul Shard was at the heart of the Citadel, what was powering the gateway? Was it powering the gateway? But the gateway was only created recently after the Seed of the Nightmare had been conquered. The spell made it appear, not Hope. Had the spell created entirely new enchantments, or built upon its existence? Huh. Fair point. Cassie had said there were other functions of the Citadel she had yet to master. What were they exactly? Now that Sonny started thinking about it, he had realized that he didn't really know much about the Citadels. That they were just used to describe a human stronghold built around the gateway in the Dream Realm. He had visited, too, the Sanctuary of Noctis and the Ivory Tower. No, 3. The Crimson Spire would have became a Citadel, too, if it had not been destroyed. It was perhaps there were more to the Citadels than he had known. Did all of them have hidden functions? I mean, I'd imagine. Whoa, my hair looks bad. My hair looks awful. Sunny stared at Cassie, who was tracing the stone wall with her fingers as she ascended the stairs. I actually learned a bit of Hope's runic sorcery back in the Nightmare. If you want, we can compare notes later. Cassie turned her head and smiled with some excitement. Really? That'd be very helpful. Yes! Sunny sighed. Of course it would be. Neither of them had any hope of truly learning runic magic, or Hope's magic, as Noctis had called it, in their lifetime. However, learning how to decipher and use already existing enchantments would have not been out of the question. After all, a person could swing a sword without knowing how to forge it. Runic sorcery was different from weaving, but perhaps it was just ingenious. In a primordial era of the Dream Realm, mortals had only known of one type of sorcery, the sorcery of names. They were capable of invoking the true names of things to wield great power, but speaking those names aloud was often an impossible task. Hope, however, had invented the concept of writing and gifted it to humans. With the knowledge of writing, humans learned how to transcribe two names and did not speak them aloud anymore. More than that, the names can be bound to material objects through writing, thus granting the invocations permanence, and could also shape into songs and phrases. However, there was still a base of knowledge of true names. Without knowing the meaning of the name, transcribing it would have no effect, and there was no way for either Sunny or Cassie to learn about that in less than a few centuries. They were both mortals, after all. I mean, yeah. What would have the Crimson Spiral function be? Controlling the nameless sun? I mean, the Spiral's entire function was creating an artificial sun. So the Spire being a Citadel point, or being a Citadel, yeah, I think it would have just been one. Or at least the souls would have been used to fuel it. Because don't forget, the creature wasn't the sun itself, it was absorbing it. It was trying to become something else. I think it was trying to become a terror, I think it was. I think that's what Nephis killed. Like, it was a devil trying to become a terror, or terror trying to become a titan. It was something fucking weird. It was like something way out of Nephis' league, pretty much. And she killed it while off guard, because it was trying to absorb the sun. Like, the sun and the creature are different things, trying to assimilate into one. So, all they could do was runic enchantments left behind by someone far more powerful and knowledgeable. Sonny shook his head slightly, wondering what secrets the Avery Tower truly held. When they made their way back to the first level, and they went higher, in the past, the Firekeepers had made it their home in the upper levels of the Avery Tower, but now it was empty. The Awakened allowed Nephis and Cassie had moved to the wooden village outside. The second level, and the third level, the fourth. Finally, they arrived at the fifth. Second and last level to Propaganda. It was separated into many halls and chambers, some of which had recently refurbished to serve various purposes. It all assembled into an interior of a beautiful but rather bare bones manner. A mouth-watering aroma came from the half-open door of the end of the corridor. Effie hurried towards it with a gleaming eye. Behind the door was a brightly lit hall that made it into the kitchen. Sonny noticed someone had put a lot of effort into either building cooking appliances or bringing them here from the waking world. The latter could only be done by a master, of course. Although some advanced technology did not work in the dream realm. Similar to how it would fail in the vicinity of Nightmare Gate. More primitive devices function perfectly well. They were expensive, but more convenient spell tech solutions too. A fallen titan? Yeah, alright. Thought so. It was something fucking way out of Nephis' league anyway. So while you couldn't really have something like an electric stove or a refrigerator here, you could have had like a wooden stove or an icebox as well as analogs that worked on Essence. Sonny also noticed several large crates of cooking ingredients, beverages and snacks, which had obviously been delivered from the waking world by the members of the cohort. He did not pay that much attention though, because there was someone standing in front of the stove. Staring up the source of the delicious aroma. A generous amount of fried rice was being cooked in a bowl-shaped frying pan. A tall, slender, with beautiful silver hair, wearing a white apron. Wait, an apron? Sonny blinked a couple times. Hearing their steps, Nephis looked over the shoulder and called out, "It's almost ready." Then she suddenly tensed and slowly turned around. Nephis' face remained as calm as ever, but there was a hint of agitation in her shrinking grey eyes. "Sonny?" He remained silent for a moment, and then looked past her. "Sure, you better turn around, though. Don't want to burn our dinner." Ah, she's back! And that's where we're going to end the stream. That's where we're going to end the stream. Like I said, I do not have that much time on me right now. It is 8 o'clock. I gotta go fucking disappear in about 10 minutes anyway. You know it's bad when I'm fully dressed. Usually I'm wearing my PJs, but not right now. But that was good. That was everything I could have ever wanted, man. That was everything I ever could have wanted. Fuck. God fucking damn it. Yes. Oh. Don't worry, I'll stream the next 10 chapters. And then from that point onwards, I'll just read it by myself. With the occasional reading it on stream. Can you imagine G3 with his cliffhangers every other chapter? I'd fucking kill him. I'd have to kill him. I would not be able to do that. I know I'm doing it to you, but I would have to kill him personally. God, what a fucking brilliant start to a stream. This is as good as a start to... This is probably as good as Volume 5 in terms of starting. But that is all for me today. We will see you on Sunday with the Walton Files, ending that stream off. Monday will be T-Bay, and then Tuesday, the 25th, will be the next Shadow Slave stream. So, goodbye. Bye-bye.